Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Rob Dalster, this is the question that I think will be debated all the way up until we get to the draft night, even during draft night, because he'll be on the board, and it's just a question of where and how you see it. Where would you take Zach Edey? Where do you project him in this draft? And how do you see him as a pro?
I think a lot of it depends on um, where you would take him. It depends on what organization you are, right? Where do you have certain fits? Where do you have certain needs? I think that he is a guy that is a lottery level player, especially in this draft. And I've said it before. I think that there is a world where he is a rich man's version of Boban, right? I think that a player that can come in and play certain matchups that can be. I think he improved quite a bit, Sweeney, in his ability to guard drop coverage, guard pick and rolls and drop coverage. I think his shooting touch is something that has impressed some people. Both him and Donovan Clingan shot the ball well at the combine, and I think it might have surprised some people based off of the way that they were used this past season. But I'm in on Zach Edey. I think he's going to have a good. When I say a good NBA career, I mean compared to what people would expect from a slow-footed 7'5", 300-pound guy, right? Like if this was 1984, he would be the number one pick, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But I think he is someone that's going to hang around the NBA for like 8 or 10 years. I think he's someone that's going to be useful in certain matchups. I think he's going to sit there on somebody's bench, and you're going to look up in 2032, and you're going to say, "Oh, look at that! Zach Edey's still playing in the NBA and doing some good things." So his size, his footwork, his touch, you can't teach those things. And there are certain matchups when you're dealing with certain guys like, I don't know, maybe that big 7-footer on Denver that was lighting up Rudy Gobert, right? Maybe you need someone 7'5" to deal with him. I'm taking him in the lottery if I'm a team that needs a big guy.
Yeah, I love Zach. Right, I've been on the train for a while. I think the earliest I could see him going would be at like 9 to the Grizzlies. Like that feels like the first realistic spot where he could go. I'd be surprised, certainly, if he fell out of the first round. Be a little surprised if he fell out of the top 20 or so. But I think probably 9 to 25 is the realistic range for Zach. The way I view it is this. If you view Zach Edey through the lens of Zach Edey's archetype, which is big, bruising, back to the basket, big who theoretically can't move, yeah, you're not going to want to draft him with a first-round pick. But when you actually watch the film and you dive into what makes Zach Edey really good, you start to understand why this guy is a first-round pick and should be a lottery pick, in my opinion, right? Like he moves his feet a lot better than people realize. He has incredible hands. His work rate on the glass is unbelievable, and like the number of out-of-area rebounds he gets and that change games. Like he can protect the rim. He can post score, right? Like he's someone, again, was used in a role at Purdue where he caught the ball on the block a lot, and he had to play so many minutes that he had to temper his pace a lot of times. Like Zach Edey can move. Like in pretty much every physical test, Zach Edey tested better than Donovan Clingan, right? And I think that's the narrative is that Clingan is the more mobile big, therefore he can be a top 5 pick and Edey can't. Well, the testing doesn't really show that, right? And I love Clingan. I saw him work out privately over the weekend. I thought he was like phenomenal. Like his body looks great. Like I'm all in on the Clingan thing, but I do think it's interesting that like testing wise, Edey is right there, mobility wise, and I think he is continuing to get in better shape, continuing to move better, and I think in an NBA where he'll be in for 4, 5, 6 minute spurts instead of go play 19 minutes a half, like he is going to make a significant impact, even if he's not the perfect fit for the modern NBA.
Yeah, you mentioned the playing in spurts thing. And you also mentioned Donovan Clingan. Look at what Donovan did in 2023 when he was in there for playing, 2, 3, 4 minutes at a time. You don't have to worry about fouls. You don't have to worry about keeping yourself paced. You don't have to worry about anything other than just going in and trying to mess up as much shit as possible in the 3 minutes that you're out there. And if you put Zach Edey in that role, imagine a team trying to go small against Zach Edey. Like, I know post-ups aren't the most efficient way to play basketball, but if you got a 6'7" dude on Zach Edey, I don't care how big, how strong that 6'7" dude is, you're going to be averaging 2 points per possession every single time you throw the ball into him on the block in the NBA. Like it's just going to happen. So there's a smart, creative team will find a useful way to make Zach Edey work, and he will be worth the money that you're going to have to spend on like the 13th pick, right? I don't. He's good, man. Draft him.
The interesting thing about this draft, like you look at a Sacramento at 13. Well, Malik Monk is entering free agency, so the thought is, well, the Kings might be looking for a guard. The thought is Portland at 14, maybe looking for somebody to help out Scoot Henderson. So remember, because his value says lottery in this draft class, it's going to be interesting to see who decides to go best talent available or what they deem best talent available, especially in this class. Like, you can't just solely, in my humble opinion, you can't just solely say, well, this fits us the best in this class, so we're going to go after this player, because in another draft, that player might be 26th or 27th on the board. So does a Sam Presti decide to just say, F this, I'm Mr. Creative, and I'm going to try the Zach Edey trial, even though it might not totally make sense when I do it? Presti's one to do it sometimes. Do the Orlando Magic, who there's talks of them potentially trying to bolster their front court, do they decide to do it at like 18? Maybe Toronto is enamored. Could you see Zach Edey in Canada? Could you see the ticket sales that would do? They're at 19. But I think you're right, Kevin. I would be very surprised if he fell out of the top 20. I think he'll go somewhere between like 15 to 19 in reality, when in this class we probably have him at 12 or 13. We shall see.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.